Okay, hello, I'm Ferdy Augusto, and this is the Schumann Resonance Harmonics channel on Facebook and YouTube and wherever the heck else I'm at these days. I also have a website, Schumann dash resonances, as in plural.com. And I also have a Patreon page. I have a couple um, uh, subscribers over there, and I have a shareable WordPress blog, and those are in the description. And as I am working with the new studio and Alex, I've been kind of reaching out into new formats. I have I have a Twitter and I have a D Live account that hopefully I'll get more into as we move on, onward and upward, as I always say. All right, so I guess before I get into the lesson, I just want to say one of my probably the first subscriber I got was Bradley, and he's in the hospital for a procedure. He's I haven't heard from got an update from him, but I know he hasn't uh, posted on a couple of my things, and he usually posts on everything, even if it's just to say hi, good day, mate. And so keeping him in our prayers, and so I ask you to keep him, and we will hold all of the ones that we know that are in the hospital in the healing circle for them to get better. All right, so wherever you are, Bradley, uh, we miss you and speedy recovery. All right. Also, I want to thank the subs subscribers who have commented, who've watched the videos, and remember, like, share, comment, subscribe. And I'm not monetized, right? None of my videos are monetized. I'm not going to. So the only way that I'm going to be seen is if you share my video and send it on to a friend and do stuff like that. Please get the message out. I do these free, uh, no charge, because people need to have this information, and it's really important that it's out. And I just want to say there's at least a few. There's two that I know of specifically recently who have said this, and in fact, I've had a few, a good number of people say this to me, that they, even though there's other people who translate Schumann resonances, they don't trust anyone else but me. And that's an honor and a privilege. It's a steward of people's trust to 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 have someone say that to me. And I just want to say thank you. And I am here to, like, that's I'm here to do this job, and the job is to explain technically how these things work. If there's some ascension thing in your belief or whatever that attached to it, that's you, that's great, that's on your end. But you got to know the difference between, what is, what's already here as accepted science versus some other narrative, the Disney side, I call that. It's to be kind. I don't know a nicer way to put it, and yet not insult people. And so I just say the Disney side of the narrative, which is it's a cover version. Um, and it's important to know where you're being lied to, and maybe why, but at least know where the lies are, and know how to tell the truth from the lie. And I'm giving you what I know, not telling you what to do, but I'm showing you what I have for your, submitted for your approval. So that's, I guess, while we're on the subject, so that's a big reason why I've been lately doing videos on principles, the observation series of having the actual, having like it in the description. From the beginning, I've said there's four panels that you need to see, And so the observations series that I've done since pretty much since day one that I've been doing these. In fact, I'm pretty sure that's how I started out, was just doing the observations of what I'm seeing, based on my reading. And a lot of times I'll give references to readings, to, like lots of different research papers and website links and what have you. And so it's really important for when I come to conclusions and I present you with this information, for you to know ultimately where I've gotten it from. And that's one of the reasons why I'm doing this website, is so that I have a clearinghouse of eventually all of the research that I've come across, the PDFs on from all these guys that I've gotten on the mailing list, ResearchGate and wherever else, that I've just accumulated. I have them downloaded onto their server, and I have to make a page for them. So that's kind of one of the reasons why I'm doing this. And in the background, by the way, completely related to this is the website, the Schumann Resonance's Schumann-Resonance's website. You can tell it's me because we got this little guy up here. See that little guy? That's me. Hey. There's a little crown there, the administrator. Yay! I'm another administrator of some other online venture. Okay, so it's no longer the 19th of April. That's the title, not the date at this point. It's the 20th of April. Happy 420 Day. And I wanted to do a relatively quick video, just, one of the observation videos of just the Tomsk spectrogram and what I'm observing there on a number of kind of different levels in a number of different areas. So the videos are meant to just be short. There's a longer written piece that goes with it. It's on the website, and I'll just show you right here in the background. All right, so this is the longer piece. The end there isn't even longer. There's novels that come with this. Okay, and at the bottom of this, there was another picture that I was going to get into that you may or may not recognize as being different, but it is, because I've inverted that. All right, Verde has inverted that. Now, where am I? All right, so this image here. So before I get into that, I'm going to, because it's sort of a part B. I used to do that when I first started doing these videos. I haven't done them in a while. And so I'm going to explain why I've done this inverted one. But first, I'm going to kind of give a reading, the regular reading on the graph. Okay, we're back. The main reason why I wanted to do this video is because it's this was a sizable white area that, as usual, everyone gets all kind of bent based on, the seeing these white spaces. And so, I'm trying to get in the habit of posting regular short videos on just the observation, of just, keeping it relatively short. The target areas, since I do an introduction on a lot of these, they kind of start at 10 minutes. I get the house cleaning, the housekeeping, I kind of call it that, like in this case, giving a shout out to Bradley. So a lot of the videos start, at least after 5 minutes or 10 minutes, depending on what's going on. And so I try to mark that in the description. And so the actual lesson itself, I try to keep that to 20 minutes in these relatively short videos, and kind of just gear it so the whole overall length is not more than like 30 to 35 minutes. I really am trying to do that. And in some cases, I've been editing out, a few seconds of dead space or whatever. And that's its own pain in the ass. I have Adobe Premiere. It's like, all right. So I'm probably not doing that often, because it's a pain in the ass just to remove a couple seconds of video. I try to do these one take all the way through. And then if it doesn't work, I just, scrap it and start all the way over. All right. Anyway, yeah. All right. So 10 minutes now, right at 10 minutes. All right, so with that said, all right, so kind of the lesson for today, there's two, first thing, all right, so this is on the website. Let me just kind of go over to that's my website, so I'm going to go over here to the bigger picture of, first let me shut me off. Okay, there we go. And I'm even going to shut this guy off too. All right. All right, so this is our educational model from Tomsk, Russia. All right, and so that's something that I want to make sure to mention to people, is that when we're looking at this, you want to consider this to be an educational model. It's in Tomsk, Russia. They have it set up at a university. It's run by students. They're graduate students. They're all fine individuals. They're looking to make a career in the sciences. You know, Tomsk University has put out, I did not that long ago, a video where I explained, a little bit about Tomsk. They're a technical university, and they put out scientists. And so that's kind of what these guys that watch the machines are doing, is that they are, they're future scientists. And so they should be given some respect based on that, in my humble opinion. Okay, so I have already done kind of a reading of this. I've already done an observation. I'm not reading from that in this case. What I'm going to do is kind of do this on the fly. And I just, before I went on here, I refreshed this. So this is the absolute latest version of this from Tomsk. And you can see it's on the 18th from, 1700 local hours, 12, midnight local time, 17 UTC. All right. Okay, so you see this right here. We're now kind of in the UTC is -5 is where East Coast is. All right. So this was today. This was our 19th of today in Russia. All right. So depending on where you are, this may have been the other side of the world. This may have been nighttime for your daytime. Okay. So you got to remember that. There is what you call diurnal variations, which is the difference between daytime and nighttime. During the daytime, the D layer, all the layers of the ionosphere tighten up, and the Schumann resonances get more active. And then as the world turns, you have different phi angles, different angles of incidences that react to the atmosphere reacts to that. And eventually at nighttime, it goes slack. And so the Schumann resonances and the alpha and all this stuff goes kind of, it calms down because it's nighttime. It's not getting that constant primary upper DC circuit influence. It's gone slack. It's gone loose. All right. So that's why you would see generally, right? It's one of the principles that we have is at nighttime, the resonances are going to go, are going to slow down. The resonances at nighttime would expect to be a drop. And you see that, people have mentioned it. Oh, how come there's these? Well, that's the diurnal, the difference between, and you can see that in the frequency reading. It fluctuates on the 24-hour cycle. There's a kind of rise and then, a crest and a trough. I'll even show you. So there you go. There's a crest and a trough, and they're not all cresting and troughing at the same rate and the same time, I'll say. All right. So in the case of amplitude here, that's, the amplitude is like the first thing that people look at because it's the amplitude spikes. It's the most dramatic. The white light, it's all sexy, nice. Ascension energy, 5D, gamma, blase, blase B, whatever. You can invent all kinds of great stories to go with it. All right. So, and they have. You shouldn't, but, they have. All right. So, and I'm just speaking for myself. Thank you. All right. So, all right. So one of the things we're talking about are the actual numbers. When people come at this and say, all right, hold on. laptop. All right, gotta find it. Right. So when people come at this and they say they wrong one. When people are talking about, I do that frequently. All right, there's me. All right. So when people are looking at the Schumann resonance graphs and they're trying to give you a reading, you need to have all of the data present. You need to have the four modes of the amplitude here. You need to have the four modes of the quality and the four modes of the frequency. There's these 12 channels that are involved. Okay. It's kind of non-negotiable because unless you know what the actual numbers are, every single one of those spikes looks like a big deal because it's scaled to fit into that area. So no matter how high up that peak is, it could be 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, it doesn't matter. It's getting scaled into the space that's available, and that's extremely important to know for all of these readings, that the dependencies, the spectrogram is based on the dependencies, and they are called a dependency for a reason, that you can't get one without the other. And so that's why I always have, unless, of course, I am changing the banner and the group, uh, for the Schumann resonances group itself. And there's a strip for the banner, and I've funkified the, that's driving me crazy. I've, kind of made it into a certain size just to Spectro because I need a banner. Maybe you don't know what a banner is. Like, all right, I mean, that's a thing. Okay. I've It's come up in the group, and oh, what's it? Other than that, like every single time that I post the Spectro, I also have the dependencies because it's extremely important to know what the actual number values are, and those are what are appearing right above me in my head. For the amplitude 1 and 3 modes. So the same thing applies not only for the white mode, but also the other modes. And this is something really important to understand, that all of these are scaled in to fit the space that's available in the spectrogram. And this first top, this is the spectrogram right here. This right here is the dependency of amplitude, the dependency of qualitude here, and this is the dependency of frequency. You see, you've got four lines there for each one. They're four different colors. There are primary colors, and I explain all this in the description. They're the primary colors of how we get, this, they're the palette of colors of how we get here. And if you were to add more colors in there somewhere, it still wouldn't make any sense. Just to make it a prettier looking rainbow image wouldn't help you out. There's someone I know, I'm not going to say any names, but this person is talking about making an antenna, and she's saying, this person is saying, that they would want to put more colors in there. And I'm like, for what? What would they be attached to? You just, artificially color it like they do the black and white things, the films that they used to do. They don't do that anymore, but anyway, so it didn't make sense to me because I don't know what you'd attach a color to. These channels all have a system that's attached to them. There's, filtering, there's an amplification. I can't even go into how, this. But a person would need to understand that the 12 channels here, these are your various modes. These are what are giving you, these 12 channels are what are giving you the color and the color combinations that are in the spectrogram. And if you know how to interpret what's there, you can see the depth, the three-dimensional space that's there as well. It's like one of those kind of magic eye images that it just looks like random pictures. There's definitely something there, and it's not until you you get the perspective, your eyes shift and lock into place into a new perspective, you don't see that third dimension there. It's the same thing with anything, everything, all of that, all of human affairs. People get run over by going into traffic and by a huge semi, like you were paused, you didn't look, how did you miss that big ass truck? Like, I don't know. Feel the depth? You thought it was half a mile away further down the road? I don't know. This gets into a whole other topic, but this is kind of what I'm saying, that if you train your eyes to look, you will see. It's about observation. It's about observing not just a surface value of it, but allowing your eyes to kind of lock in and see another kind of level to the picture. And so it's sort of what I do based on the color information that I'm getting from the spectrogram. I mean, from the dependencies of the spectrogram. Okay, so where we're at, we have our max value here of 65. This is pico electron volts. Remember, this is all on the pico scale because this is just way, 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 way subtle. All right, so our high point here was 65, and then wrong one here. High point here was 65, and then this one here, you go down. The next one is 52.4. All right, then you see another dip. 39.8, and then our kind of mean here. Mean is in the middle. That's kind of our statistical term. So we had a bunch of hours where it's kind of in this range here, which is in the relatively low end. Okay, so relative between 2 to 65. When we're talking about 20, this here is 20. It's this is relative to the 20 range, 20 to 27. It's not even 27. So like 20 to 25 range here, that's less than half of 65. Okay. So now our other peak, the supporting mode 2, which goes right behind the white to help support in that like ultra whiteout condition that people love talking about, what everyone would say, the whiteout condition. So you have to look at this number here. Like, this is a pretty high value here, 25, right? So this peak here, 25, is roughly the same value as here, 25. And then you have this one here, the red. This one here, you have at 25 as well, all right? And then it drops down. Hello. Nice. Hopefully that will not show up on the video, but I think it did. I hate Windows. All right. No, that thing has come up for a month. I'm not ever installing that unless I have no choice. All right. Okay. Anyway, onward and upward. So I talk about this often, that you have this white, and then behind it is the rust color, and then it's green, and it's always fringed like that. It's the white fringed by around the edges of it, especially in the top. It's orange and a list of colors, orange and coral and pumpkin and all this great wonderful confetti colors, and that is caused by these two here. Red and yellow together create orange, and then you have behind it these are the widest. As you start, you have to look at the shape of the wave. These are modes that are based mathematically on the shape of the wave, the position of I don't even know how to explain it, but there is a size and a shape that's involved in this, and it kind of goes in this order, that the white is the tallest, ding, the yellow not so tall, the red, and then the green is down there. It's the widest. So the white mode, the filters, how they have it filtered and everything, it's so that it's detecting the highest part of the signal, and that's what's giving you here. This is the highest part of that signal, and then you have the next highest, the next, they're like stairs in a sense. Like that's kind of a way to think of it. And you have to look at the numbers, the relative values, because something else that's really important to understand is that these are all scaled into that size. So this white mode is, it's this 40 hertz represents the horizontal frequency going horizontally like that. 65 is an amplitude spike that is a tall spike. It's electricity. Okay. So where that's 40 in hertz, the white mode is 65. Okay. So that white mode here would be, instead of 40, 65. And then you have this tall one here, 58. And then the instead of 40, that would be 58. And then here, this tall one here is 43. And so if you were just looking at the red, that would be 43 there. And it's the same thing with the green, where that number would be, the maximum is 37. Hopefully this makes sense. I've mentioned this before, but it's important to know what it means by scale. So all of these things are scaled to fit into this space here. And there is actually more energy that comes in, but it does get capped off by their filters. All right. So that's important to know. However, there are the filters, and then there is the size and shape of the antenna itself, which picks up a certain range of frequencies, and then it naturally doesn't pick up more frequencies. It only recognizes that as noise. It doesn't intelligently recognize frequencies outside of its range as a signal. All right. So that's something really important to understand about this. All right. So these numbers are, relatively, they're on the little higher side, but look at the COM activity of it. This is something that's really kind of important to understand. When we talk about, I hear the term flatline, this is what I think of with the shimmer resonance, where it's almost like, I'm not going to call it dead, because there's obviously blips there, but it's just very, very calm. All right, the amplitude is very calm. The quality, which is the magnetic flux, this is very calm as well, right? Up to the point of something disturbing it a little bit. And then we have these peaks here. We have the peaks of amplitude coming in, and then we kind of have, kind of this plateau. Not much, kind of the magnetics go back down to a kind of dull state, except for this red. I had mentioned that in the current conditions report above, about this red kind of peaked here after everything else kind of died off. This red guy stands up to be counted, and that's 48. That's a pretty kind of high number for that, that. And you can see these aren't exactly capped off, but they kind of are. The maximum here I've ever seen this is at like 31, generally speaking. And again, this is picoteslas. Got to remember, this is quality, this is picoteslas. And the frequency measures the wavelength. So these numbers are kilometers. Okay, so that's why this white mode, it's not white mode energy, white light, 5D gamma. That's not what this is. It's white mode that's measuring this particular size and shape of the wave. That's basically what a mode is. It's the size and the shape relative inversely between the quality and the magnetism. All right. So there's an inverse reaction that happens between the amplitude and the quality, and I mentioned that in the this and other observations about the inverse relationship that happens with bursts in amplitude will equal a dip in magnetism and quality. Okay. So, you know, the green waves are the ones that are closest to Earth. They're the biggest ones. As you move up, these waves are not as big. They're smaller. Okay. That's what these numbers are. This is kind of the the uh this the size of it, the strength of it, magnetically speaking, of the waves. They're coherent waves, and this is the frequency. And so that's why these two numbers are linked together. The 25.8 and the 30. A lot of times this will actually be a 30, and that'll be like a 31, and that's why you see how the inverse relationship between the white, you know, quality 1 and frequency 1. Right? So these things are all kind of related, and I'm happy to explain it to people, but there's a lot to it, and there's kind of a learning curve. Hold on. There's a lot to it, and there's a learning curve, and so I try to, I to the they, I try to present people with as much information, basic information that helps it all make sense, and yet not too much, so I'm overloading you, and I keep rotating information in and out, and so hopefully give you a little different ways, and I'm also kind of fixing the descriptions and kind of, tightening up some typos and whatever. So every day the description is, even though it may appear that I posted the same thing, and in some cases parts of it may be the same, but it's always changing as I do these and I talk to people and I address different parts first. Usually the first parts that come up in these are the ones that are the newest and the freshest, and then the stuff that's down there in the bottom may need a little more editing, and it kind of layers it in, and that's one of the challenges of this, and kind of it makes it fun as well, is kind of keeping all of this relevant, keeping all the plates moving. All right, so all right, let me pause this here. Okay, so this is the image I have on the bottom of my web page. I have it open in Paint, the Paint program. Same image. So I haven't done this in a while, but I wanted to kind of show this to you. The inverse image here. Okay, this gives you a better understanding of what you're looking at when I zero up down at the bottom and I make 40 up at the top. Okay, usually 40 is at the bottom, 0 is up. So I do this so you can look at, logically speaking, what, and it helped me early on as well. I posted it for people, for them, and people got whatever they got out of it. But I think it's important for for people to see this version of it, because it gives you a better understanding of what you're looking at. I think I'm actually going to put this in the thumbnail of the of this particular video, and hopefully it'll kind of freak a few people out. All right, so this is the web page, and that's that image. All right, and so this is the more relevant image. All right, I have no idea what I'm doing here. All right, so all right, so like I said, this the link is in the link to the website is in the description. Go over to check it out. There's also the WordPress link, and again, it's a Patreon, and the Patreon account, the majority of stuff that I have over there is posted for the public. So even if you don't give me some money, help support me, but even if you don't, there's a bunch of stuff over there for you to read and see. Okay, so part of this here lesson is to look at space weather. All right, and so I already have this. This is, I think, the last thing I'm gonna show, for tonight. All right, so if you can see this, all right, so this here is Earth. Okay, this bright yellow dot is Earth, and then this kind of dull yellow is Mercury. This green box, this is Parker SP, and this is Mars. This red dot here is Mars, and then this square right here is stereo A, and then stereo B is right here. This square blue box. All right, so you have all these characters all lined up here in this great drama. All right, so the date on this one here, it starts the 9th. And what they do is they run about like 9 or 10 days, 8 days, 10 days, something like that. It's over a week. And then they kind of keep recycling, they just have the last 8 days. Or in fact, it's not actually the last 8 days, it's a projection. So you notice here we're on the 20th right now, 420. So it goes past the 20th. Okay, the 23, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 18, 19, 20. Right, so you see it's just repeating. Okay, so what we're looking at here, this is our density, and this is going up, right? So as these numbers, as we go to white and then gray and then black, that's pretty fucking serious there. But you see the wave front here, green is where you start getting into the action area, and then you have green into yellow, or a nice spectrum here. Following through with the actual legitimate spectrum. So you have yellow, this front here, yellow, red, and then into white. You see that's white. Okay, well, that's pretty notable. All right. Now, this, I didn't do an update on this. Other people did. Wages World did an update. There's other people who do weather updates. Now that Wages isn't going to be on so much, I may have to do some of the weather updates. Certainly when I'll make the agreement with you. Certainly certainly when there are things that are related to the Schumann solar stuff, that would be the time to bring up space weather. But if there's no funny like this, there's peaks there that people are freaking out over. So it's important to show you, well, yeah, that's from solar event that missed us on the outskirts. And so if you watch Suspicious Observers, he's showing you recent information on that. You see the what the heck do you call it? The I can't even think. It's not ISWA. The other one, stereo A, where you can see it's moving across the front. So this is not conclusive. I'm not the space weather guy, but it is my suspicion that they model these things on a certain historical pattern. However, I'm considering this to be more like a bow shock than it was. This was way off to the side of us, but it did create some weather with us. And Suspicious Observers has mentioned some of the things, the offshoot of this. I'm not even sure what the phrase to use is, but right, and this is kind of subjective. I realize that, but what you're looking at, right, is how do I say this? Our magnetosphere goes out way beyond just this, right? I mean, it goes way, 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 way out beyond like the wake of a boat. Big boat, if you've ever seen that, right? So there is an interaction, magnetics, when something happens on the sun, right? This was off to the side. If it was on the other side of the sun and there was something on the Schumann, that would be different. I couldn't support that being like, oh yeah, it's definitely related. No, but this is like, all right, it's close. And I'm postulating that these are related. The recent spike of up to 65 in synchronous mode is related to this. And I just wanted to show that. All right. And so this is available through my website. Okay. SchumannResonances.com. All right. So I have all of these, and I'm still working with it. Let's check the KP index. What are they doing? All right. Is that recent? There's not much going on there. Yeah, that's recent. All right. All right. The 18th. That's for the 18th. All right. So, did I look at this? Oh, all right. All right. It's a colorful chart. I don't know how to read that, quite honestly. And I think was that the one I just had up? Yeah, that's the one I just had up. All right. Oh, volcanoes. Oh, yeah. We should watch this. Let's, volcano update. Where are we at? Show the interactive. Oh, show something. All right, here we go. All right. Oh, yeah, and I should show Kumiana too. Kumiania. All right, so... All right. Austria 3.0. Serbia. What's this one doing? Wow. Oh, I should look at Iceland, so it does doing. All right. Where's the other one? Oh, yeah, here we go. All right. So this one here is the reading from Kumiania. All right. We got the date as the 420 here. All right. So they're looking up seismic activity along with, right? And that's pretty peaceful. You can see that even the activity, the seismic activity that was over there doesn't seem to be giving it any notable readings, at least not in this time. It's probably not close enough. All right. And so this is the magnetic side of the equation, the ULF magnetics. All right. And so what you're looking at here, this fun, colorful meter, is the layout of the two antennas. These guys here, the induction coils, the magnetic antennas. You're getting the axis, the direction is, the color on this is the direction. All right, I don't know how to put it, but you see that's what these colors here, that's what the colors are represented here. So in this case, you have a lot of colors, a lot of fun colors, but you know what you're looking at, that's the direction. All right, as what that is. And they're telling you how they kind of come up with that. And these are some fairly colorful magnetic images. They're kind of trippy, quite honestly. In fact, I'd love to kind of trip out and stare at them. All right, so that's just kind of an update on that. And I think that's it for right now. Is there anything in space weather? I'm not going to play that video because I do not want to get hit with a copyright. All right. There's a lot of interesting stuff here. Not much that I really care to talk about. I don't know that much about a lot of this stuff. Honestly. What do we got here? We're looking at the sunspots. All right. So this isn't anything notable for me. All right. So holy fuck! I'm at 44 minutes. All right, it's time to end this. All right. So this has been a relatively short. It wasn't short. It was meant to be a short video. It's sort of focused. Anyway. All right. Maybe it's not. Anyway. All right. Time to end this train wreck. All right. So thank you all very much for being here. I appreciate all the love, the comments, the support. It's almost 1 o'clock in the morning here, and it's just everyone, y'all are wonderful, and don't lose hope. No matter what's going on around you, if you don't lose hope, it's not as bad as you think it is, right? I mean, it's a lot of people are going through the same thing, and I'm in my own way trying to be a positive uh, light, positive example for people. It's difficult. It's difficult for me. This March it was rough. It was rough. Uh, but I'm here now, and it's just on with the show, onward and upward. So thank you all for being here. Sometimes I have no idea how to end these, so I'll just say thank you all for your love and support. Namaste. Have a great rest of your day. Goodbye, everyone. I will talk to you again soon.